And you alluded to it. I mean, Texas Tech went to town on the transfer portal. You mentioned how they have an advantage in the trenches, and you mentioned the defensive line. I think they put a very sharp emphasis and focus on building from the inside out. And we're just seeing talent littered all over the field for the Red Raiders. And let's talk about them.
I think firstly, yeah, there's 800 prospects. And again, I keep saying it, but give credit to their coaches and their GM. They did a great job of going and getting guys. Remember, it's one thing to go get guys, as their GM, James Brashfield, did. It's the other is the coaches getting them to mesh and be a team quickly, which is very hard. And they did a great job down there. To me, one of the interesting things is I remember last year, I'm sure you remember, leading up to the draft, everybody's like, Will Campbell, should he be a first-round pick? Can he play tackle? His arms are 33 3/4. Oh, my God, they're too short. Well, when you look at the two tackles at Texas Tech, you have Will Jados, 6'6", 311, big, long arms. Then you have the other side, Hunter Zambrano. And this is, to me, this is where the arm length issue is an issue. I'm not talking about 33 3/4. I'm talking 31 and a half. That's an issue when you're out at tackle. That really makes it hard if you're going against a 6'4" or 6'5" edge guy like a Bosa or a Garrett who have 34, 35-inch arms. You're going to be at a big disadvantage. We're not talking a quarter inch. We're talking 2 to 3 inches. So I like both these guys. I think Jados is probably a little bit higher, but I think both are probably on the outside looking in now, fighting to get into that 6th, 7th round. Zambrano, I think, has the tools to move into guard. I don't think it's going to be a sure thing, but he's always worked with using those shorter arms to sort of play physical, control guys, which will translate to guard. So I'm excited to watch those two guys. We've talked about the quarterback, Morton. This kid, to me, is an underrated guy. He reminds me a little bit of sort of that. I'm not saying he's this good. I'm saying reminds in style of a Baker Mayfield, and that got a little bit of athleticism. He's scrappy. He makes plays. When you watch him, he doesn't jump out in any one area and say, oh, my God, he's got the best arm, or, oh, my God, he's the fastest runner. But you just watch him play football. He's efficient, makes smart decisions. He will put his body out there when he's scrambling to make plays. He'll stand in the pocket. There's a lot to like about this kid. There are two receivers, Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas, two tall kids, 6'0", 2'3" for Virgil, 6'3" for Douglas. Both these kids have good speed. Morton has built sort of a quick rapport with them. And this is a really good offense. And then when you add in guys like John Carlos Miller, who doesn't get a ton of attention as a tight end, he's a good football player too. To me, when you look at Miller, he almost looks thin for a guy his size. He's 240-something. He looks like he's 225. He's looked thin and sort of angular to me. And then the defensive side of the ball, you could literally name every player on their defense. That whole D-line, we mentioned Height and David Bailey. Bailey's probably going to be a first-rounder, maybe a high second if the spring doesn't go his way. Romello Height, probably going to be a day 2 guy. Lee Hunter, their massive D-tackle at 6'3" and 330. It's going to be a day 3 guy. He's a big physical kid. And the kid that I sort of enjoy watching, although I don't know where he's going to fit in the NFL because he measures 5'11", 7. Maybe he gets to 6'0", in the spring measurements, gets up on those tippy toes. 291 and 30 and 5/8" arms. All those are not good numbers, but it's the Skylar Gill Howard. But when you watch him play, he is a very consistent, productive player for him, competitive as heck. Obviously, we mentioned Jacob Rodriguez. He's all over the place on defense. Sort of the new age linebacker, not the big, tall 6'5" guy, 6 foot and change, can run. He's physical. He's aggressive, great instincts. Cole Wisniewski, safety, pretty looking kid, 6'3", 220, can run all day, get him probably time in the low 4.5s. I think he's going to be a guy that surprises and goes higher than people think, 2nd or 3rd round. They have 2 good corners. They have A.J. McCarty, Dante Balfour. These are good football players. I think Balfour is going to go a little bit higher just because NFL teams prefer a kid that's over 6 feet if they have their choice. And let's not forget about Jack Burgess, their punter. You talk about everything you're looking for. Big kid, cannon for a leg, from down under. I mean, he literally checks all the boxes. He's going to get a shot. I don't think it's going to be as a draftable guy because most teams don't draft punters unless they're Ray Guy. But this kid's got a lot of the tools to be a successful punter at the NFL level.
All right, we're going to have to get the punter on the big board over here.
Exactly.
Russ breaking down the special teams for us here. And You mentioned Morton, and he comes into this game. He did miss 2 games earlier this season due to injury, but Joey McGuire, man, is so confident in this kid, and he threw for 2,248 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. So he doesn't make many mistakes, and I think that's been a big key to the Texas Tech success this season. Now, in terms of some prospects I want to follow up on, I mean, I think Bailey could give a run for the money, depending on how you label Arvell Reese as an off-ball linebacker or pass rusher. I think David Bailey could make a run to be the first pass rusher off the board. I mean, this kid is just explosive. He's quick. He's twitchy. He's productive. He's done it game after game, week after week. He's really elevated his draft stock, as has Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, he was really in contention there for the Heisman Trophy for a minute, and he's just making plays. He comes up with momentum-changing clutch plays, and you like that about players, right?
Well, you love that in the key spots he makes plays, and I think both of us, I think you would agree with me, before the season, I think people looked at Rodriguez and said, he's sort of your classic old school middle linebacker, like tough, hard nosed. He'll attack, he'll be physical, but is he athletic enough off the ball to not be a liability in pass coverage? Because that's all that we both know now. 20 years ago, you could have the Dennis Gibsons playing middle linebacker that couldn't move enough to really help in coverage because they were so physical, great leaders and all that. Nowadays, you can't have that. You put a guy that's a limited athlete at linebacker now in the NFL, those coaches put an X on you and they're going to attack you. This kid this year has shown me, hey, he can, at worst case, he's going to be adequate. I think he's going to be a better than adequate coverage linebacker in the NFL. I can be good. And you add that to his ferociousness, his leadership, his instincts. I think he's going to make it in the NFL. Whether he becomes a starter, I think it's 50-50. But I think he has shown he's not just your traditional old school, unathletic middle linebacker who relies on toughness and instincts.
Yeah, I think scouts are going to be curious to see what his time speed is, but I'm just going to throw that out the window because his instincts, I think, compensate for that, and I think he'll be okay and be a potential 3-down linebacker. Romello Height, he gets credit for getting after the quarterback, but I've seen him set the edge against the run. He does a nice job with that. Not as big as Bailey, 6'2", 228, but speed to power kind of pass rusher. I'm expecting him to be very active with that athleticism and closing ability as well. You mentioned Cole Wisniewski at 6'3" and 3/8", 221 pounds, and runs faster than half the running backs. I feel like he may even be a linebacker at the next level. He can maybe rove between safety, linebacker spot in the pros. Caleb Douglas, this guy, he's just a big giant target that makes plays deep downfield, transfer from Florida. He's got the pedigree, works the sidelines really well. Doesn't do a lot after the catch. Like, I'd like to see him create more after the catch, but certainly with Virgil and then even Coy Eakin, the redshirt junior, has been pretty productive for them as well. And you mentioned the other tight end, but Terrence Carter, I don't know if there's a home for him at the next level at 6'2", 232 pounds, but he has been a huge pass catching threat. Maybe he can translate into like a Kyle Juszczyk type of role at the next level with the similar size dimensions. But, man, there's just so many players to get to. We can't cover them all, but you can go over to the website over at allaccessfootball.com. Check out the Draft Insider. Lots and lots of players, even some future